Welcome to Astroneer Academy, a 24-part course that will take you from the very basics of Astroneer all the way through the end credits and beyond. I'm Brandon, your host for this series, and the creator of Vainglorious Gaming. Expert-level Astroneer players have all joined together to bring you this series, and you'll be hearing from several of them over the next 24 weeks. Whether you are brand new to Astroneer, or an experienced player just looking for some new tips, you will find nearly every aspect of Astroneer covered during your time as an Astroneer Academy recruit. To kick things off, you have to survive your first day. Getting started is easy. You start a new game, either adventure or creative, and then you click Start New Game. But wait, before you do that, if you are brand new to Astroneer, you really should take time to complete the tutorial first, just to familiarize yourself with the controls of the game. Once you have completed the tutorial, you're ready to begin your first adventure in Astroneer. So now it's time to start that new game, where you'll find yourself launched from the long-range exploration vehicle to the surface of the starting planet, Silva. Exit the dropship and your shelter and landing pad will appear. If you examine the landing pad, you have the option to deploy the startup package. Now, you don't have to do this, but it will definitely help you get started in the game. And now you have before you three packaged objects: an oxygenator, a medium printer, and a starting platform. Hover your in-game cursor over each one and unpack them. You'll notice that your shelter has a place on the side of it with a tooltip for a required package item. Your oxygenator fits there perfectly, so go ahead and place it in there. The oxygenator is an essential tool, and we'll talk more about it in just a minute when we take a look at tethers. Now you're ready to place the starting platform and medium printer. The medium printer does require a platform to function, so you can place it on that starting platform. Now grab one of the cable plugs on the starting platform and plug that into a cable plug on the shelter. And just like that, you're ready to start exploring this strange new world. It won't be too long though before you notice an oxygen warning. And that brings us to a good time to dive into the basics of the Astroneer user interface. With no inventory, health meter, or other readily apparent user interface, it can be easy to overlook that Astroneer is always telling you everything that you need to know. Items you can interact with will always have an on-screen tooltip telling you what they are and how to interact with them. Many of these interactions will open control panels for various items, which have their own user interface built right in. And many items will have small holograms to help you figure out what you need in order to progress. Now, do you see that bright blue bar at the top of your backpack? That is the built-in oxygen tank. As your available oxygen decreases, you'll see the oxygen tank begin to empty. When you have around 30 seconds of oxygen remaining, you'll notice an oxygen warning appear. And if you ignore that for too long, you'll see additional warnings. If your oxygen tank runs completely empty, you will begin to suffocate. As you begin to suffocate, a red border begins to fade in around the edges of the screen. That is essentially your health meter. The bigger that red border grows, the lower your health. In Astroneer Academy 102, we will cover all of the hazards that you can encounter, but it is a good idea to pay attention to how large the red border is when it appears so that you know exactly how near death your Astroneer is. The other portion of the user interface is related to power. Your backpack has a power meter, vehicles have power meters, and even the shelter and platforms all have power meters. We will be taking a deep dive into power generation, usage, and how to tell if you're creating enough power to meet all of your usage demands in Astroneer Academy 103. As you first start out in Astroneer, your backpack plays a key role in your success, so let's take a look at that. There are a total of 13 Tier 1, or single item, storage slots on your backpack. The storage slots on each shoulder are known as auxiliary slots, sometimes also called widget slots, and they can toggle items stored there off and on. The 8 slots on the main body of your backpack can be used for item storage. The 3 slots on your terrain tool are augment slots that give your terrain tool additional capabilities. We will take a closer look at both the auxiliary and augment slots in Astroneer Academy 105. Speaking of the terrain tool, there is some basic functionality that you will want to become familiar with. By default, you will be in excavation mode, which will allow you to dig in soil, which lets you terraform it. If you have a small canister attached to your backpack, you will also collect soil as you excavate. We'll talk a little bit more about canisters in Astroneer Academy 105. Elevate mode will raise terrain if you have soil available in an attached canister, while flatten mode will allow you to create a flat surface based upon where the middle of the radius of your terrain tool is pointed. Flattening allows you to create very smooth surfaces, including ramps, covering over holes, and expanding the area around your shelter. Finally, at the very bottom of your backpack, there's a printer. As you cycle through each item that can be printed from your backpack, you'll notice that there's a hologram of the item to be produced on the right-hand side, with a hologram of the resource required to print that item on the left side. If you already have the required resource in your backpack when you select an item to print, it'll automatically drop down into the printer. Just click on the green button to craft it. And here's a quick pro tip from Black Rhino, one of the Astroneer Academy's advanced Astroneers. You can use the resource slot on the backpack printer as an extra 14th storage slot by selecting an item but not printing it. This can give you an extra slot to carry certain resources back to base, or it's a great place to store a resin to quickly craft some oxygen filters in an emergency while out exploring. Big thanks to Black Rhino for that pro tip. Astroneer also has some built-in elements that are not readily apparent on the screen, and we're going to take a look at one of those really quick. Simply pause the game and select the rocket icon to access the Astropedia. Inside, you will find a wealth of information that covers the basic controls for Astroneer and offers some quick tutorials. A lot of Astroneers are completely unaware the Astropedia even exists, so you're now several steps ahead of them by simply knowing where it is and how to access it. Also, basic controls that are covered in the Astropedia are not going to be covered in our Astroneer Academy courses, so make sure you check it out. The planets section displays the difficulty of each planet, which resources they contain, a basic description of their topography and atmosphere, and a power rating for both sun and wind. The Astropedia also contains a list of all resources in the game and includes the icon that represents them. Those icons will come in handy at later stages in the game. And be sure to take the time to read through each of the tutorials, as each one does contain valuable information on various aspects of Astroneer. So, now that we've covered all of this, exactly how do you survive your first day at Astroneer? Well, your most pressing need is oxygen, and you have two options. You can gather compound with your terrain tool to create tethers on your backpack printer. The oxygenator that is kindly provided by Exodynamics in the startup package pumps oxygen through connected platforms and also allows you to begin creating a network of tethers that will supply oxygen from the oxygenator to your Astroneer. Now, you've already learned how to place tethers when you completed the tutorial. So if you place tethers close enough to each other, you'll see them connect with a tether line. If you drop a tether too far away from the last tether or from another source of oxygen, the tether line will not appear, and you'll notice that the ring around the top of the tether is not lit up. As long as your Astroneer is connected to a tether line, they will receive oxygen. Of course, a tether line is also a very easy way to retrace your steps and find your way back to your shelter. On top of that, tether lines do produce some light, which can be really useful when exploring in really dark caves. Another way to obtain oxygen is through oxygen filters. These are created on your backpack using resin that you collect with your terrain tool. You can also sometimes find them on wreckage scattered about all the different planets. Oxygen filters allow you to explore without worrying about dropping tethers, though they do not last forever. There are a lot of players who prefer to use oxygen filter over tethers because they feel it allows them a bit more freedom to explore. You can also increase the amount of oxygen you carry by crafting an oxygen tank on your backpack printer and attaching it to your backpack. Each oxygen tank provides an additional 60 seconds of life-saving oxygen. But whether you use oxygen filters, oxygen tanks, or tethers, you want to keep an eye out to make sure that you do have enough oxygen. Because if you run out of oxygen, your Astroneer dies. If you die, you are returned back to the nearest shuttle or shelter. Any items that you had in your backpack will be missing, though you can retrieve them later. We'll cover respawning and recovering items from your backpack in Astroneer Academy 102. So now that you know the basics of how to survive your first day in Astroneer, you're ready to move on to the next course, Astroneer Academy 102, Hazards and Other Things That Want to Kill You. That's where we will look at all the various hazardous plants, along with all the other ways that your Astroneer can die. Until then, we hope that you'll take a moment to leave a comment on this video letting us know if you found it helpful, or if you'd like, you can share your own tips for surviving the first day in Astroneer. Throughout each Astroneer Academy video, there will be a secret letter that appears on screen at various times during the videos, just like the one you're seeing right now. At the very end of this series, we will be giving away embroidered patches and vinyl stickers featuring the Astroneer Academy logo, along with some exodynamic Space Force stickers created by one of our Astroneer Academy Advanced Astroneers, NotEntropy. You can check out his YouTube channel by clicking the card on your screen, and his Twitch channel through the link in the description down below. Winners will be selected from entrants who supply all 24 letters, so you might want to jot them down. Before I wrap things up, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone in the Astroneer community who contributed to this project. And that includes everybody who maintains the Astroneer Wiki, which is an incredibly valuable resource for all Astroneers and was consulted throughout the creation of this entire Astroneer Academy series. And with that, until next time, I'm Brandon, reminding you to stay vainglorious.